the extremely racist conspiracy theories that Trump and the Republicans are pushing. Because, yeah, I mean, it's been a week since the debate. We were laughing. It feels like it's been a million years already. But when Trump went up on stage and said they're eating cats, they're eating dogs, it's a funny meme. But at the end of the day, it's prompted extreme, threats to the people of Springfield. There have been bomb threats, school closures. The Haitian migrants there are not having their kids go outside and play. And let's be clear, they are here legally under temporary protected status. Not that it should matter, but it doesn't matter to J.D. Vance. Here he is at a rally being asked explicitly about the fact that these immigrants here are here under a legal status. And he just says it explicitly. It does not matter to him. Giving away the game. They're going to continue to call them illegal.
Hi, Senator. Mia McCarthy with Politico. Question for you about the Haitian migrants in Springfield. So I know you've talked a lot about how we need to deport illegal aliens, but I wanted to ask you, the majority of the Haitians in Springfield came under TPS, so they are here legally. And I know you've expressed a lot of your issues with the TPS program and wanting to change that under a Trump-Vance administration. But I guess my question for you is, if you become the vice president under a Trump administration, what will you guys do about the migrants that are already there, since they did arrive legally? And a follow-up to that, if you plan to deport them, how would you do that legally?
Well, look, this is a media and Kamala Harris fact check that I want to clarify and clear up right now. And here's. Now, the media loves to say that the Haitian migrants, hundreds of thousands of them, by the way, 20,000 in Springfield, but hundreds of thousands of them all across our country, they are here legally. And what they mean is that Kamala Harris used two separate programs, mass parole and temporary protective status. She used two programs to wave a wand and to say, we're not going to deport those people here. Well, if Kamala Harris waves the wand illegally and says these people are now here legally, I'm still going to call them an illegal alien. An illegal action from Kamala Harris does not make an alien legal. That is not how this works.
I can't figure out how bikes work.
So temporary protected status is a program that's been in place since the 90s. In this country, it's somewhere from, 600,000 people who hold temporary protected status. It gives these immigrants the ability to reapply and maybe even apply for citizenship. I think it's up in 2026. This is by no means illegal. It has been in place across both Republican and Democratic administrations. So what he's saying there is that no level of immigration from certain kinds of people is acceptable or legal under his standards. And that's really giving away the game there, because at the end of the day, this whole attempt to basically incite stochastic terrorism or a pogrom against these immigrant communities in this country, what it boils down to is just like, they're black. They're black. And they're Haitian, and Haiti led the most successful slave revolt. And there's all this pent up white nationalist Nazi resentment towards that. And so we're going to target them anyway, because at the end of the day, this is all about hatred and not some sort of legal status.
I do think that just based on his physical reaction to being asked the question, you could see him touching his face, trying to mop the flop sweat off. I do think that he personally feels like Trump bringing this conspiracy theory to the forefront of the media's attention at the debate stage has kind of forced him into a corner to have to find ways to defend this, which he definitely does feel this way about Haitian immigrants broadly. But I think he would much rather be making these kinds kinds of arguments about them being illegal immigrants here despite not being illegal without the umbrella of these cats and dogs story, because that's just like unequivocally racistly false, and there's no real defense for it. So he just kind of keeps having to make these tangential arguments about it and draw away from the fact that he was just last week caught spreading like a racist urban legend. And so I do think some of this, like, you can see him like grasping at straws, and I think he has settled on this one for like how he can pivot from talking about like, oh, why were you saying that in reality the person leaving the hook on the door of the two lovers on Lover's Lane was actually Haitian last week. This is his way of getting away from that and starting to like bring it back to a more general GOP talking point about anti-immigration. So I do still feel like he should be hammered on the core of that story, because that's what people are really, drastically turned off by, because it's so racist.
Right.
Not these like little points about like, they're not technically citizens because it's just Kamala making illegals legal with some like stroke of a pen stuff. That's not why people are mad. People are mad because you were saying the other thing.
Yeah.
I would like to ask people to ask themselves why JD Vance is covering up crimes of the Clinton State Department and Foundation.
Yep.
Because Haitians is one word for them. Victims of the Clintons is another. You can look back at WikiLeaks published a cable from the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton's State Department. There was going to be a minimum wage of trying to get it up to like 50 cents or something like that. This infuriated American corporations like Hanes and Levi Strauss that pay Haitians slave wages to sew their clothes. They said that they would only fork over a 7-cent an hour increase, and they got the State Department, Hillary Clinton, involved. The U.S. ambassador put pressure on Haiti's president, who duly carved out a $3 a day minimum wage for textile companies. The U.S. minimum wage, okay, $3, sorry, whatever.
Also,
the U.S. minimum wage itself, very low, works out to about $58 a day. Haiti has about, so we're talking about jobs. Where are the jobs going? Maybe our State Department should stop suppressing wages in other countries so that Levi's can be there. Haiti has about 25,000 garment workers. If you paid each of them $2 a day more, it would cost their employees $50,000 per working day, or about $12.5 million a year. As of last year, Hanes had 3,200 Haitians making T-shirts. So again, like, can we talk about this stuff, JD, if we're going to be actually critical about the Uniparty and all that stuff? No, it's because actually he's doing the Hitler play, which is the failures of capitalism, whether that's housing or whatever, lack of jobs, we're going to blame that on some other.
Yeah, and to Brandon's point earlier, I just want to say, like, JD Vance is, yes, he's cleaning up Trump, because even though they do believe this, Trump wasn't supposed to say this in the general election. This is for Truth Social, this is for the rallies, and this is for the rallies particularly in a campaign that's functional in the primary season. Trump was supposed to be pivoting towards the general election, and he made his strongest issue on polling, which is immigration, into a meme where people are mocking him. And then, like, generally people who are just like, maybe they have racist views on immigration, but they're more moderate politically, can see this as for what it is, which is explicitly racist. And then you have like business owners coming out and saying they're great employees, which is all that matters apparently in society. But like, it was so explicit that JD Vance is just doing cleanup, but it's for an audience of one, for me at least, to see this, because like, why is Trump deploying this dude all the time? He has a historically low favorability rating for a vice presidential pick. Like, Sarah Palin eventually got there, but he started out in the basement, double-digit net negative for his favorability. He's on every Sunday talk show. He's doing all these solo rallies. It's like Trump thinks he's doing a good job. And it's like he was always a ratings guy before this. So I don't know if he's so far down the rabbit hole and deluded and he thinks that, okay, the numbers are all fake now, or he just really does enjoy getting Vance to go out there and explain away the most insane shit that Trump says.
Well, to be fair, to your point, Emma, we don't know what numbers Trump sees, to be fair. Like, just to think about it. We know that he lives in an echo chamber because he picked JD Vance. And even before he picked JD Vance, anyone, if he watched this show, he would have known not to pick JD Vance before he picked JD Vance. So yeah, it's hard to know what he knows at any given point in time, not just because he is Trump, but also because he's fed a constant stream of BS. I will say, though, to your earlier point, I think it's also important to highlight highlight that this anti-Haitian rhetoric is just a vehicle for being anti-Black, just broadly speaking. And why J.D. Vance's statement is also important, not just because what he's saying now is what Trump was supposed to be saying on a debate stage, not just the underlying or like sort of the racist urban legend, is that he's basically saying that Black people are un-American by, nature of being Black. Like there is a certain type of real American, and that's coded as like white, Christian, heterosexual, and being Black, in this case through the avatar of the Haitian is discrimination or discriminatory from being American. These are mutually exclusive categories. You simply can't be Black and American because there's no visible way to tell if a Black person is Haitian or not. That's why they thought that guy holding geese was Haitian at that for one of those first pictures. Like there's no visible way. So this is exactly how it becomes a way for people to just express their anti-Blackness.
Well, that's
you don't think conservatives know? I mean, you don't think for the conservatives, Haitians, Ethiopians, they all have some sort of aura about them. They just naturally know. They're very in tune with culture, so they know.
I don't deny that if you gave J.D. Vance a set of calipers and you put 5 Black people in front of him, that he could tell you exactly from what region they came from with a series of skull measurements. I don't deny that. I'm just saying that without those sophisticated tools.
Well, he doesn't have the ability to bring out the cranium measuring tool from a photograph. He would need like a 3D model.
I don't know. AI, Silicon Valley is all over this actually now, just trying to take accurate brain measurements from at least 3 photos from different angles. You can get all the phenomena of, what is it?
Phrenology?
J.D. Vance runs the photos through ChatGPT and asks them what region are they from based on their skull measurements.
Yeah, it's like an app. It's like an app called Skull Shape, but there has no vowels in it, so it's just like SK.
Scale.
Gosh, I love innovation.
Right.
Peter Thiel has totally funded it.
Interesting how his explanation of why he'll continue calling them illegal because he doesn't agree with the law and because someone he doesn't like carried out that law. How far back do we do that? Do we extend that to the president before that? Do we extend that to the new immigration law before that? Can we keep going far enough back until it affects his wife's parents, or do they not count? How far back do we go? Because I'm interested to know when J.D. Vance claims it becomes legal and he won't argue with it. I'm going to assume it's somewhere after when his wife's parents came.
Yeah, or they don't count in the same way that abortion restrictions. At the end of the day, if someone close to you needs an abortion, J.D. Vance is a very rich guy, so it doesn't really matter. He fundamentally understands that he won't be affected by it. And he's been confronted multiple times about this hypocrisy, that his wife is an Indian American, that her parents are Indian immigrants, and he doesn't care because it's that cynical at the end of the day.
Chris Rufo was apparently undocumented.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I mean, but this is a common thing amongst, conservatives or people who lean conservatively, not just on immigration, but a host of issues like abortion. Like, even if you don't find yourself insulated by wealth, everybody, generally speaking, who doesn't identify as an out and out racist knows people of color at this point in America. It's very hard to be in a totally monochromatic community. To some people's disappointment, it is. And so everyone has that one person, whether it's their friend at work or like their gardener in a lot of cases with some of these rich people, who they imagine will be an exception to the rule. They imagine that, like, obviously the law doesn't just work indiscriminately and, even the good ones get deported, but they don't understand that that's just not the way it's written, and it's not the way it will be enacted by like the ethno-fascist GOP. But that's how it gets past a lot of people and how they can see themselves voting for it, because they just think, oh, well, surely it's not the good ones. It's the one who commit criminals. It's like the rapists and stuff like that. It's not like my friend Manuel.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.